Alright, what's up guys? This is NinjaDeathStrike bringing you another Pokemon TCGO battle. If you saw the deck preview there, you'll see I'm using the Chandelure deck again. As I mentioned in the previous video, just a little bit bored with CMT and Zeals, so I've really been enjoying this deck a lot recently. And that's why you guys are getting videos of it. If you're looking at the length, you'll see this is a pretty lengthy video. A little bit scary trying to do a narration for a video this long, but I will do my best not to ramble. And this is a really good match. It came right down to the wire, so I definitely wanted to put it up. But anyhow, I am lucky enough to go first. I have a pretty solid opening hand here. Oh no, I don't go first. I go second. Never mind. But I do have a pretty solid opening hand here. I've got an energy and a supporter, which is really the top two things you want in your opening hand. On top of that, I've got a level ball, so that'll help me get my bench set up a bit. And really the only problem is that there's a Mewtwo EX staring me down. So this deck does take 2 or 3 turns to get set up. I mean, it's pretty fast for having a stage 2 attacker, but Mewtwo can start hitting turn 1, and that's really a danger for this deck. Luckily, none of my basics get taken out with just a DCE X-Ball. You do need 3 energy on the Mewtwo to take them out, assuming they don't have any energy themselves. But here, I go ahead and get 2 Vulpixes, and I use Call for Family to get another Litwick. I could have passed on the energy and not attacked, and that might have saved the active Litwick, but if he had a DCE, which he gets right here with Engineer's Adjustments, it wouldn't have mattered. I would have been KO'd anyhow, so I figured it was better to go ahead and attach the energy, get a Litwick on my bench, and that way when this one dies, I'll be able to promote the other one. Because I really don't want to have Vulpix active. That is not an ideal situation at all. So Litwick does get taken out here, but I'm still doing okay. I've got the N, I have a Ninetales, so I'll be able to roast reveal here, and I have that rare candy, so if I can just hit a Chandelure, I'll be in pretty good shape. I'll be able to start doing some damage. Now, since this deck only does damage in chunks of 30 at a time, it takes forever to kill an EX card. Mewtwo can pose a problem, as it can for most decks. The main thing you're relying on with this deck is that you only need 1 energy to use your attacks, and so in order for Mewtwo to take a 1-hit KO on you, it needs to have 5 energy attached to it, which can take quite a while, and between there you can hopefully get an Inferno off to be able to deal with it. And as I mentioned again in the last video, my deck really relies on taking out the weak energy accelerators, and so the idea is that you're probably only going to have to face 1 fully powered Mewtwo per game, and then after that they're just not going to have the energy, enough constant energy to keep up with that big energy requirement for a 1-hit KO on Chandelure. Unfortunately, this deck really only plays against CMTs and Zeals with those energy accelerators in mind. 150 HP Emboar is not a 30 HP Dynamo or a 60 HP Celebi, so I feel like this deck is definitely at a disadvantage against Reshivoor if it sets up fast. Not only can Reshivoor drop a ridiculous amount of energy on Mewtwo at any given time, it also has the option to just attack straight out with Reshiram, who can hit for 120, and also Oko all of my Chandelures, so really kind of behind the 8 ball on this one. And you see there, I missed getting the Chandelure, but I was able to draw into a Lampent thanks to Roast Reveal, and that's going to let me drag up his Tepig. He chose to play the heavier Tepig. It does have more HP, but it also has a 2 retreat cost, and then he makes a pretty questionable play here. He P-coms out another Tepig in order to get a Pignite, and he evolves it in the active spot and then attaches a DCE. Had he done it the other way around and attached to Tepig first, he could have retreated to the bench and then evolved, but now he's basically locked himself active for at least one more turn, which is just helping me out. I'm not going to complain, but definitely not the right play from him. So here I am able to get a Vulpix and a Pecom, so I'm going to Pecom out that Vulpix, get my first Chandelure ready to go, and I've got a handful of energy, so that means lots of cards for me, thanks to Roast Reveal. And that's one of the things I really love about this deck. Just constantly having half of your deck in your hand at any given time is so great. Just lets you get to the cards you need when you need them. And here we go. I get another Chandelure. Go ahead and evolve that with Rare Candy. And looking okay. Not doing too bad here. My main concern obviously is that Mewtwo. If my opponent gets set up, he's just going to win. I already explained I don't have a favorable matchup, but I am at least set up. I have an active Chandelure. I have another one ready to go, so I'm okay for a few turns. I know that he does have energy. He's played 2 interviewers' questions, I believe, so he's got quite a bit of energy in his hand. But I think my game plan right here is just try to keep Emboar active while I pile up damage on his bench. If I can get the Mewtwo's into a range where I can take them out with either Inferno or a V-Create from my Victini, that'll make them easier to deal with. But if he does get an Emboar up and just starts throwing energy down on everything, it's pretty much going to be game over in as many turns as it takes him to take 5 more prizes. Probably just he'll be able to do it turn after turn. So he goes for an N here, which means I don't know what was in his hand. He had a huge hand, so maybe he didn't have any energy. I could have sworn that he had used a interviewer's questions after I end him the first time, but I don't know. He opts to shuffle that back into his deck for 5 cards, but in any case, he does hit his fire energy there, and that's going to let him switch into Mewtwo. Luckily, as I said, this deck only uses 1 energy to attack. That means I am going to barely survive the X-Ball. Looks like I've got 80 or 90 damage on me, so I'll be able to be alive for 1 more attack. And yeah, I'm just going to draw more cards. This deck's, I mean, it works so simply. There's not really a whole lot to explain about how it works. You get 9 tails and then you draw cards until you win. But I have a bit of a decision here. I could opt to go for the Flame Burst and hit Mewtwo for 30 and also hit Pignite, or I could attach to the active Chandelure and go for Inferno to get a solid chunk of damage onto this Mewtwo. And I choose to attach my energy to Victini here. I don't think that was the right play. I definitely should have attached to Chandelure and gone for the Inferno. That would have put him at 100 damage, possibly 120 if he flipped Tails on the burn, and that means that a V-Create or another Inferno would definitely be able to take him out. As it is, I'm only going to be able to do 30 and then hit Pignite for 30 as well. And there's really not a whole lot of points since he doesn't have anything on his bench. There's not going to be that much to spread to, so going for Inferno definitely would have been the better play. But too late for that. Just use Flame Burst instead. And now Mewtwo is at 60 and Pignite's at 30. So down comes, now his bench is going to start to fill up. Reshiram comes down, he gets down another Tepig. And I'm really just relying on the fact that he only has 3 cards in hand. I'm praying that he doesn't have a supporter. If he has something like a Juniper or an Oak, he could potentially hit an Emboar. He doesn't even need the candy at this point, and a couple of energy, and I would be done. So there we go. He's got a DCE and a Juniper. So now this Mewtwo has 4 energy on it. That means that it's going to be doing 80 damage plus 20 for my 1 energy. So that's 100 damage per turn. And if he attaches another energy to it next turn, it's just going to be able to OHKO all of my Chandelures. all the time, which is very, very bad. So I desperately need a catcher here. Because I opted to go for the Flame Burst, I can't even go for the Inferno to take him out. Had I had another basic, I could have gone into Victini and used V-Create to get the KO, but I got a Lampent instead of a Vulpix with that level ball a couple turns ago. So, yeah, I can't do that. So here, luckily, I draw into a catcher thanks to Ninetales, saves me again. And that is going to let me catcher up this Pignite again and just spread some damage because I cannot deal with that Mewtwo yet. After this turn, I think, yeah, I'm going to hit it. Going to hit it in Tepig here. After this turn, if it comes active, I will be able to kill it. So I'm feeling a little bit better about that now. But once again, my opponent has a huge hand. I figure at this point he's got to have an Emboar. I mean, look at how many cards he has. There's no way he couldn't have an Emboar. So we get another Tepig down. I don't think he really needed to play that. He's already got 2. I guess he's worried they might get knocked out before they get a chance to evolve. Or at least one of them. And then eventually, you know, the Emboar might go down. So we'd want a second one. But probably not completely necessary to drop him down there. And now I guess he's going to think for a while. Okay, he plays a Sage. Card that I don't really care for that much anymore. I liked it a lot in my Magnezone deck, but I've kind of just switched over to Juniper now. Because Magnezone is not as good as it used to be. And there's not as much chance of decking out there with the Juniper and Magnetic Draw combo, so there's no real need to play the Sage. But I see that he discards a Lost Remover, which is a little bit concerning. I would like to keep that Rescue Energy I have attached. That's actually why I grabbed the Lampent with a Level Ball. I figured I could put the Rescue Energy onto one of these Chandelure and get them back, and then evolve through Lampent so that I don't need to use another Rare Candy, even though I do have one now. But still would have been better just to grab Vulpix so I could fill my bench up. Anyhow, looks like we've got another Pignite down there. He evolved the Tepig that I damaged last turn, so now it's going to take 4 Flame Bursts to take out. And you can see why this is such a bad matchup for my deck. There's just so many fat things that it takes so long for me to kill. It's like, oh, well, you're going to do 30 damage a turn? I've got 150 hit points, so have fun. Oh, and I hit you for 120 damage, at least, always. So yeah, good luck with that. Here we get a Rescue Energy on the Emboar, and it seems to me like my opponent plays an awful lot of Special Energy. He really, if I were him, I would have more Fire Energy, maybe just because that's the only kind of energy you can accelerate. Yeah, Rescue Energy is nice, but it's kind of slow. And I mean, by some miracle, he doesn't hit an Emboar here. So even if he did have Fire Energy, I guess it didn't really matter, since he wouldn't have been able to use them since he didn't have Emboar. But I have to deal with another Mewtwo now, so that's cool. I am going to take out this Pignite this turn with a Flame Burst, and I need to think about where I want to put the rest of this damage. I think I opt to go for the fresh Mewtwo and the 60 HP Tepig, which hitting the Tepig doesn't accomplish a whole lot since he'll just be able to evolve it next turn with his Rescue Energy. I would have been actually better off probably hitting the Reshiram, as strange as that is. That would have put it at 100 HP, and again, I could have revenged with Victini had he gone into it to take me out. So hitting the Mewtwo, I realize I'm going to have to deal with them at some point. There aren't going to be any easy prizes for me, so my best bet is just soften up these Mewtwo's with 2 or 3 Flame Burst while I give up some prizes, and then come in and just finish them off with Inferno or V-Create, and take them out in one shot on the revenge and just draw the rest of my prizes. If I can just take out one more thing, all I have to do is kill 2 Mewtwo's and I'll be okay. So that was probably why I decided to put damage on that Tepig. I was hoping maybe he'd evolve the other one and I could get another prize that way, and then I'd be at 4, which means killing 2 EXs would have won me the game. But, of course, he is not going to do that. He's clearly going to save the Tepig that I targeted earlier, evolve it into Pignite, and I'm going to die. He's got 4 energy. I've got 2. That's 6. 6 times 20, 120. And that's going to kill me. So now we get a DC on the other Mewtwo, and I'm just like, oh, man. This is not good. This is so not good. Now there's another Reshiram down. There's nothing I can target really that isn't gonna take 5 or 6 turns to kill. So on top of that, he's got a copycat, so now he's got like a 13 card hand. Again, still no Emboar, which I don't know how that happened. His hand size has been like 7+ for the majority of the game, and he just has not managed to hit that Emboar yet. I know he plays at least 2, because we're going to see him eventually. But he really couldn't seem to find him for the first half of this game. So I think he gets one here. He has to. I mean, the guy's got like half of his deck in his hand. So it's got to be this turn that it comes down. We'll have to wait and see here. Okay, probably should have edited this, sorry. Okay, well there we go, X-Ball, he takes me out. Still no Emboar. Maybe he has it and he just didn't evolve it because he didn't want it to get catchered. I suppose that's a possibility. But here I go into Chandelure instead of going into Victini, and that's a misplay on my behalf. I obviously had the cards I needed to pull off the V-Create here. That's not guaranteed after this turn because I don't have another rescue energy. So if this Chandelure goes down, I won't have another basic to put on my bench, and that means that Victini is going to be useless. So I really should have done this in the reverse order. Gone into Victini here to take this prize, and then if he died, then I could promote Chandelure. But I do get a level ball off of my prizes there, so if I have another basic, I will be able to get it. I don't think I do right now, but I do have the Super Rod, so I can Super Rod something into my deck and then grab it, put it on my bench and V-Create, and now we've got another Mewtwo. I think the first one had a rescue energy on it, but yeah. So now we've got 3 Mewtwo's. Awesome. So I'm just a little bit bewildered here. I don't know how I'm still in this game. I should not be. I should have lost about 10 turns ago. Either my opponent cannot get an Emboar or he just doesn't evolve it, or like I thought before, he doesn't play enough fire energy. So finally, Emboar comes down, and I'm assuming this is probably the beginning of the end. Yet another DCE onto the other Mewtwo, so I think they've all got one. No, I guess the one in the middle doesn't yet. He plays a Fisherman for 1 here, which, again, questionable at best. That seems like a bit of a waste. Luckily for me, it looks like he doesn't have any fire energies, or not 6. He would need 6 on this Mewtwo to kill me, so I was thinking maybe he didn't, but I guess he did. Maybe he needed that 1 more to have enough. He's got 5 energy right now, yeah, and there's the 4th one, so that's going to put him at 6 energy, which is just enough to do 120, and that is not fun for anyone. So here, V-Create, not going to cut it. This Mewtwo has 0 damage and 6 energy, and that is terrifying. So I'm gonna go into Chandelure. Wow, I actually evolved there. I'm surprised I didn't go for Lampent, because then I could have dragged out Embor. Um, yeah, I don't have a Junk Arm. I guess my plan was, I knew that I had a Junk Arm left, and since I have all that energy, I can just Roast Reveal until I draw it. So I'm going to do that instead of wasting the attack on Lampent. This way I'll be able to drag Embor active and go for the Flame Burst as well. So that was my thought process there. A little bit risky, but I did know that I had that Junk Arm left. I only have 2 Junk Arms in this deck. I would like to get another one, but as I mentioned before, this is a very tight list. I don't have a whole lot of space. So this is my last catcher. I run 2 catchers and 2 Junk Arms, and I've used them all. So this is it. But you'll see off of that Roast Reveal, I did hit an N. I knew that I had at least 2 Ns left in my deck. I play 4. So I knew, again, I could Roast Reveal as much as I want because I am going to get the N. And obviously I'm going to play it here. So this is a really clutch play for me. I was able to get the catcher and the N, so I dragged Embor active, and with all of that energy stacked onto the Mewtwo, the chances of him being able to get 4 energy onto Embor this turn are not great. He's got 4 fire energy on the Mewtwo already. We've seen quite a few rescue energy and DCE, so I'm guessing he probably plays 8 fire energy at most. That means he'd have to get all of the rest of the fire energies into his hand this turn to be able to attack. So that's really not likely. It turns out it's not something he can manage to do. He's just going to evolve into Pignite again and pass. So I am hanging on by a thread here, slowly burning all of these giant things to death. And here, what I'm going to do is, my plan is eventually this Embor is going to die. That's going to put me at 2 prizes. And once that happens, I just need to kill a Mewtwo to win. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to soften them up. If I can get 80 damage, well, it'll end up being 90, but if I can get 90 damage onto each of them, then I'll be able to take any of them out with a Inferno after this Chandelure goes down. So yeah, that's the plan. Like, Reshiram is not really a problem anymore because Embor is going to be dead, and all of his fire energy, like I said, is invested on that one Mewtwo, so I'm not too worried about him hitting a consistent blue flares. He might be able to do 1, but getting more than 1 blue flare is going to be really tough for him. So really his only option after this Embor goes down is going to be to go into a Mewtwo. So yeah, if I can just do enough damage before that happens, we'll be all set. I think this is the turn. Yeah, Embor's going down here. So I've put both of the Mewtwo with energy at 90 damage. That means if he wants to survive the turn, his only option is to go into the one with no energy. And because it has no energy, it's probably not going to be able to attack. On top of that, I can continue to Flame Burst it. I can Flame Burst once, and then Inferno will kill pretty much everything at that point, so that would win me the game. And yeah, he must not have the energy to do it here, so he goes into the one that is already full of energy. I guess that was really his only option. If he didn't have any fire energy, he would need, again, 5 fire energies on the Mewtwo with 60 damage to be able to kill me. So awful hard feat to pull off, even with the Sharon. He didn't get it, so he is stuck with this active Mewtwo. It is going to be able to kill this Chandelure, but then I can just go into the other one, hit it with Inferno, and that is going to be the game. So he's going to think for a long time about what he wants to do here, but eventually he realizes doesn't really matter. I've put him into checkmate, and yeah, this is an awesome match. I thought, anyhow. I thought I played really well at the end to be able to squeak out a win. It just shows you what a truly devastating card N is in this format, especially without Magnezone around. It's just so good. So I was just so nervous that I was going to be a little bit short that I actually P-com out and set up my bench, but I'm going to have exactly enough, I think, to hit him and take him out. But I thought I might have needed to use Victini, so that's why I don't go for the attack right away. I didn't want to miss by like 10 damage and then lose the game because I'm an idiot. But anyhow, that is going to do it, guys. Leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will try to play a new deck, something new for the next video. So let me know what you thought of this match, and I will have more coming your way shortly. Thanks, guys.